Bonjour, comment es-tu? Welcome to Fanfic Review, a show where we'll be reviewing fanfics about the show RWBY. Today we're going to be talking about Cruella Rand's Relic of the Future. Spoilers ahead. Now, don't get me wrong, I love this story, and I recommend anybody who hasn't read it yet to do so, but it does have some decently big problems I'm going to be going over today. The first problem is Raven. Raven is a problem in the story because of a lot of factors, but I feel like the main one is she shouldn't even be in the plot because of one thing that I feel like we just skip over in the book. For this problem to make sense, I'll need to describe the way they meet. Jean ends up killing a Knucklevy, I don't know how you pronounce it. It's the Centaur Grim. He kills that, and he wakes up in Raven's tribe after Raven saved him. That sounds fine, but then Raven notices that Jean recognized her, and she finds that interesting. They have a whole escapade afterwards, but none of that's really important. What's important is that Jean recognized her. Jean recognized Raven as the person who abandoned his best friend's sister at birth and then later left her to die. Why would Jean ever want to be friends with her when that is how he knows her? I think the best way to put it is she's Summer but worse. Issue 2, the ending. I have multiple problems with this ending. It was extremely rushed just because of how long the book was. They wanted to end it, but they didn't really know when or how to get into it. So it leads to a very abrupt ending. Another problem I had was the ending was just too happy, which I know is like completely subjective. He kills the bad guy, he gets the girls. I just feel like he didn't lose anything at the ending. And it even turns out that his Ruby from his dimension is alive, even though, like, at the beginning he checks on her and she's dead. But Ozzy, I hear you saying, didn't Jean literally die at the end? And you would be correct. Yes, he did actually die at the end. But to say that him dying was completely a bad thing would be only telling half the story. When he dies, he just goes back to his home dimension where he finds out that Ruby is alive, and then he goes on to presumably save that dimension as well. Issue 3, the length. Now, considering the fact I still go to school and have summers, it's not that bad, but I would assume that a hefty part of his audience, Cruella Rand's, is adults, and they have work, and considering the book is over 1 million words, they are so going to forget details from earlier in the story. For example, at the beginning of the story, Jean sells his phone to a merchant. Way later in the story, the merchant comes back being a millionaire because Jean gave him a future phone. I was able to binge read this in one night because sleeping isn't important to me, but if you have things to do, you would only be able to read this like 3 chapters at a time. Like I said, this didn't personally affect me, but I can see how this would really mess up someone's reading of the book. Now, onto the great. This has some of the best character writing in all of RWBY fanfiction. Almost every single character in this story is super fun and interesting to be around. I think one of this book's biggest strengths is it focuses around characters that we don't see much of in canon. Tai-Yang, Summer, Raven, and Crow are usually the ones around Jean. Another thing that's great about this book is it's 60% plot and 40% fluff, so we get a lot of character building that isn't connected to straight big events in the story. It also has some of the best world building I've ever seen in a fanfic. A lot of fanfics have a really hard time trying to find space for plot progression, character growth, and world building, but since this story is extremely long, it's actually rather nice. If I had to give this story a number rating, it'd be a strong 7 out of 10. It would be closer to an 8, but considering all of the problems I had with Raven, and how constant she is in the story, I just can't give it anything higher than a 7. To be honest, if she was cut out of the story, I'd probably give it a 9 out of 10. Do keep in mind, this isn't all of my complaints or praises with the story. Despite how bad this video is, I have been putting a lot of time into this video, and I don't want to have to spend an extra amount of time going over every little grievance or thing I like about this book. Au revoir. Passe une bonne journée. This was Fanfic Review. I hope everybody enjoyed this video. If you did, please like and subscribe. If not, dislike and leave your grievances in the comments below. Have a good day.